Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of JForex Indicators Explained, I will be taking you through one interesting indicators concept. The name is Vortex indicator. This is a momentum defining indicator which we can utilize to look at the changes in the momentum. If the things are turning bullish to bearish or from bearish to bullish, there is a one such indicator which can be craftily used to look for these initiation points of the trend and go for the trend optimization techniques to initiate the trades and profit from those scenarios. So let us now head to the JForex for the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the chart of the Euro USD with each candle predefined at hourly. We have seen Euro USD declining and declining for last couple of days, and then on these lower levels we saw some buying happening in today's session with these gains of around half a percentage point being seen from these lower levels. Now if we were to profit from these scenarios, we would have needed a indicator which would have given us the idea of this change of the trend and helped us in figuring out the trade entry points to optimize our trades. So for that, I have come across one such indicator which is named as Vortex, which is a fairly good indicator simply designed using this price volatility, how things are shaping up. If for a particular candle, the high is quite far away from the prior candle's close, and if that kind of scenario is taking place consistently, then if we do a simple arithmetic and add this distance over a period of time, we will get to know if this high is gradually rising or not. And if it is, then of course that is going to warrant buy trade. So we can look for this kind of opportunities using this indicator. And if the momentum is bearish, we are going to see the lows of the candles, successive candles being quite lower in comparison to the prior candles closing value. So even if we do the summation of this difference, we will have a higher value for that sum of this difference. The absolute value is going to be quite high. If the momentum is bearish and we are seeing successive lows being formed where the price keeps moving away from the prior period's closing value. So we will see in that kind of scenario the VM minus, which represents the negative output parameter of this indicator, being in charge, being on top. So here we have these two outputs, VM plus and VM minus, which are simply the output values, which makes us easier for us to go for the trend change. And in these changing scenarios, we can then try to initialize the trades in the early hours of the trend change and not get involved when there has been a significant price move and it looks like we are going to see the momentum going sideways. This is the indicator's output with its input parameter defined at default value of 14. So last 14 candle periods are being considered while calculating these vortex indicators output value. Now let's go back in time and see how things are shaped up for this particular week. So starting this week, we had this slightly bullish momentum, which at some point in time even had crossed on the negative side, but the move wasn't really sustained. It was part of this sideways trend. So here we had these couple of occasions when the movement was narrow, and we had these multiple crossovers happening for these vortex indicator, and gradually the trend started with these big moves happening subsequently. So in last couple of sessions, the momentum has shifted and we have seen more than 1 percentage point decline for the euro, which would have been successfully picked up by this indicator, and it would have provided us the opportunity to go short for these profit making possibilities, as it has given us these trend change call quite right, and from there on we have seen almost 50 pips move in the euro USD. So from this observation over current week, or even if you go back in time, you will see that this indicator works well when the underlying instrument is trending, but it doesn't really work so well, and it might even generate multiple false signals if the momentum is sideways, if there is no strong momentum on either side. In that kind of scenario, the indicator is going to generate multiple false signals. So that is something which we have to be mindful of. We have to keep this drawback, this shortcoming of the indicator in mind, and plan accordingly. Maybe we can use some filtering mechanisms. We can add some other indicators to be used in conjunction with this indicator, or you can even add the conditions like good enough move in terms of the pip value, in terms of percentage, so whatever suits your trading system. You can add that to make sure that you don't lose too much if the markets remain choppy, remain sideways, and the indicator continues to generate multiple signals, which doesn't really give you much profit. So here we had this crossover happening over multiple period of this 10th May. If you were to initiate this trade, you would have initially seen small profit, but that wouldn't have sustained much, and again you would have seen the reversal of fortune. So that's why it becomes important for us to consider these kinds of possibilities, where the possibility of the indicator generating multiple false signals is high. But as I said, when the market momentum picks up, when things go clearly bearish, as happened in the second half of this week, we are going to get these largely profitable trades where significant could, amount of money could have been made if you were to rely on the signal generated on 16th of May. And again, here we had this VM plus crossing above VM minus, so you would have seen small profit in your trade position, but then it would have evaporated, and again here the trend change would have forced you to take a short sale trade, which would have then continued for significant amount of time, bringing in quite a good amount of money. So that is the possibility with this indicator. If the momentum is strong, you are going to make quite a good amount of money. If the momentum is not strong and if the markets are choppy, then you are also going to suffer losses. So you will need to figure out the mechanism to minimize the losses and optimize the profitable trades. As I said, the interpretation of these indicators, these two output, is quite simple, and we can go with this simple crossover structure. Or if you feel like, you can even watch out for the moment when the convergence begins, where the one line changes direction from its prior trajectory, and it starts to converge with the opposite spectrum. So here we saw when the things were sideways for the Euro USD, the convergence started for these VM minus and VM plus lines. So this can also be taken as a marker that the things are changing for the underlying instrument, and we might even go for profit booking. So that kind of possibility can also be considered. So you will have to be creative. You will have to figure out these kind of utilities by doing observations over long period of time, and see how the price action and how the output values of these indicators have unfolded in prior circumstances. So with that, you will get to know the pros and the cons of these indicators. You will be in a position to judge for yourself if the indicator is going to be helpful for you in your current system, if you have any, or if you are going to design a new system, how well you can utilize this indicator to help you in your quest to find the profitable trades. So go for the observation. Now let us consider what we can do in terms of the customization. We can vary the calculation period for the indicator. We can go with this default calculation period of 14, but if you feel that it is going to generate multiple false signals in terms of the in times of the choppy markets, then you can even think about increasing the calculation period. So that kind of possibility is also there. Or you can even try out lowering the calculation period to, say, for example, like 7 or something around that. And in that case, the indicator is going to be quite much more responsive, but the reliability of those signals is going to be much lower in comparison to the signals generated when we use larger time frames like 24, which simply represents the day's data is used for calculation purpose. So both these possibilities are there. As you increase the calculation period, you will see the reliability going higher, but the responsiveness of the indicator is going to be much less. And when you decrease the calculation period to smaller time frames like 6 hours, 7 hours, then you will have the responsiveness of the indicator to be quite high, but the reliability is going to be lower. So this trade-off is always there, and you will have to see for yourself how things are going to change. Let us try out a combination of 50. So when you use a large calculation period, you will see that even in choppy markets, not many false signals are going to be generated, but the indicator is going to take a lot of time and a sustained spiral on either side for these change of trend to be identified on this chart. So that is one factor to be kept in mind. Now I'm going to restore it back to 14. The output value, you can vary this VM plus, VM minus, outputs color. So all these color combinations have been provided on the chart. So give it a try, whichever color you like, you can go for that color combination. Okay. Levels, level factor is not going to be much helpful in these indicators scheme of things. Advanced indicator options, you can go for recalculate on new candle only. In that case, the output of these indicator is going to be locked in whenever new candle takes shape on the chart, and it will remain the same throughout the current candle period even if the applied price keeps varying. Highlight the time period zone, your calculation period will be highlighted. We can even go for further customization with specifying the instrument, the candle period for the calculation of the indicator and the spread side. You can even decide on which particular time frame you want this indicator to be plotted on the chart and on which particular time frame to omit this indicator. So that possibility has also been provided here on this platform. So I think with this, I'm almost done for the day, where I tried to explain to you the underlying concept, some of the uses, some classical interpretation of this indicator, and the ways in which you can think about utilizing this indicator for figuring out the trading opportunities in the market. So for the day, my job is done. If you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback and I'll be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead, a profitable day ahead. See you next time around on Monday. Till then, happy weekend. Goodbye.